I'm all alone in a live room. I don't know. Cops should want this, but
There.
hey
Now you're
there.
not alone. now you're not alone.
I was gonna say this could get really. Oops, my bad. This could get really bad if you just leave me alone in a live room. Oh, the
Yeah.
unpredictability is
Oof, man,
crazy.
about to just like
Yeah,
either my follower count's gonna go through the roof or it's gonna plummet because I just let Khalil have
you
control
just
over
give me
Cobb's corner
free
for an
run.
hour.
That's not a good idea. I'm just telling you, it's
No, to
not a good
say
idea.
very not a good idea at all.
How are you doing?
I am doing great, and to everyone listening, welcome back to Cobb's Corner. I am your host, Morgan Cobbs. We have a very special guest. Actually, this is the first time that we have ever done anything like this on this podcast. This is the first time that we've done a live episode. I have worked with this gentleman in the past, and he's a very good friend of myself and of Lee, whose podcast I was on a few months back. Um, he covers everything from news to movies to audio commentaries. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Khalil from the Comic Boys podcast. How you doing, Khalil?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? I'm so happy that first of all you consider me a friend, and second of all have like invited me on. I feel very honored.
Oh! Did I actually say that? My bad.
I take it
Oh,
back now.
my bad. We can edit that out later.
It's live.
But yeah, well, what are you gonna do? So yeah, now Khalil, comic boys podcast.
Great
I've
channel.
listened to a few episodes.
Appreciate that.
It is a great channel.
Appreciate that.
I'm gonna kind of give you the floor for a few minutes, just kind of let you just kind of talk about like your podcast, like how'd you start, like when did you start, how long have you been doing it, like what was your like reason for getting into podcasting. I'm just gonna let you kind of take it away.
Thank you. I don't know if that's a good idea, but here we are. You've done it, so now you can't take any of it back. Basically, I got into this because I said I don't hear. I have no friends and I need to talk to someone. So instead of talking to a wall, I'm just gonna turn on a camera and then talk to the wall because then it seems a little bit less creepy. Um, and then I'm put on the internet so everyone can watch it. And that I'm not even joking. That was literally the way that started because no one understood me. So. And then
Right.
I just kept doing it, and then I said, "Hey, this is fun, and makes me seem less like a crazy person and more like a normal person." So, it all worked
Yeah.
out.
Right. I mean, I feel like that's kind of similar to my origin story with Cobb's Corner. Like I pretty much started this podcast because I've just always loved. I'm a diehard like superhero movie fan, and I've talked about this even on other podcasts. Like I talked about it on Backlook Cinema. I talked about it on Lights Camera Rant. So I mean, for me, it was just my love of film and the fact that I would find myself like watching and rewatching movies and like talking about them again and again and yeah, it's, I guess so. I gave myself this platform. I created this platform for all of us, like for all of us like yourself, like Lee from
Nerds.
Lights Camera Rant, and yeah, pretty much adult nerds. yeah, pretty much the adult nerds. For us all to kind of just rave and rant and just laugh, cry, argue over these movies and these TV
We can argue.
shows.
That I can do. I'm good at doing that.
Oh man, I might have too soon. Too soon. I knew. I honestly, I knew this was a mistake. I knew I should.
Hey, too late now.
Hooey man. But hey, I got Lee's stamp of approval to bring you on. So Lee trusts you. Then I know you did a couple episodes on Lights Camera Rant as well. So
I did one. But one
yeah,
long
I
episode.
actually listened to a bit of your audio commentary that you did of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Was this
Well, that
back in
was a
like
fun
20?
time.
Yeah, was that 2019? You did that?
Sure. I know
Yeah.
it's all
Oh,
blurs together, but yeah, it was some point
wow.
at around that time.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how long have
that
you
was a fun
been
time.
doing the podcast?
Technically 5 years, but like
5 years.
I don't
Wow.
but like it was more like an on and off thing for like since it started 5 years ago. Um
Oh, we got
but yeah.
somebody. We got somebody in the chat. The goat, whoever the goat is. Shout out to the goat. They said wow. Um, so yeah. I mean, the goat. You've been not about to
Yeah.
not whoever whoever this is. I'm not about to let you into the live stream. But thank you for your comment. Yeah, BS Khalili. So you kind of like one of the OGs in this space. I mean, me, I've only been at this since May of last year. I'm going on like almost a year. It's like, so let's see. It's I want to say I officially started at May 6th, the same day I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in theaters the first time, because I saw it twice. I fell asleep the first time. Um,
Oh, so many things to say.
because we were late. We were late. You see, the thing is, we were late getting out of Buffalo Wild Wings, and I think the movie start time was like 9 o'clock or like 10 o'clock or something. So I'm not good with late night movies. Like today, I actually saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It was at 3:35 in the afternoon. Um, so, which is actually the topic of today's podcast. But yeah, that was the day that I had like officially said, you know what, I'm gonna actually like go forward with this, and it's really just been like a learning experience. I'm kind of like, even as I'm going back to my old episodes, and all right, the goat, and
The
going
goat
going
is really saying some stuff.
whoever the goat is, okay, Lee, this better not be you. You get me off topic, okay? But yeah, I just kind of started the podcast. Like I didn't even have this mic at first. At first, I was just using my like wired earbuds for my Google Pixel, and and
Hey, I
then
know that. I know
or
that
no, I
feeling.
think I at one point I was just using my phone, like just the phone audio. So like
First
go
three
back and
years of my
listen.
channel. That was it.
Okay, well, yeah. You go back and like I'm actually, as I'm re-listening to some of my old episodes, like the audio quality just wasn't it, and and also to think that like I've been at it for less than a year.
That's crazy.
Been doing this podcast, and I mean definitely getting this Fifine microphone was phenomenal. But I was re-listening to the episodes because I'm in the process of like uploading them audio only to YouTube. So that's still a work in progress. The goat. I saw your other comment. The next phase of Marvel hasn't been the greatest. Very underwhelming. What I will
Okay, but
say is that
this is one movie. I just gotta point that out.
right, right, okay. I mean, I will say that phase four was a bit of a mixed bag. I think it was a transition phase, like as we moved on from Thanos and from the Infinity Saga, and also paving the way for the multiverse saga. So I think it was just that transition. And I've also heard people compare phase four to phase one. Now, phase one was more establishing the universe itself, but phase four, this is the first phase where we've had to transition from one saga to the next. So I think phase four, it was a transitional phase. It's like we got some hitters and some misses. I mean, you know, um, phase five actually looks pretty promising. I saw him in at the Wasp Quantumania. I gotta say it was good. I think it was good. It wasn't great, and I think you also can't look so heavily at these early Rotten Tomatoes numbers, because the numbers, like, they always start off high and then they go low, and it's like, movie's not even out yet, like. And you also, like, the thing about, like, these Rotten Tomatoes, film critics, like, these guys, they get paid to do this, like, they literally get paid to watch movies. They're professionals. A lot of people go to school for this, and at the end of the day, none of us.
The people on Rotten Tomatoes don't have a lot of them gone to school for this, but
Oh well, yeah.
Well, at least the good handful of them. I know a few of them, so I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah,
but
they all do this.
Yeah.
Spam. Okay. Do you want me to make a proclamation? I'll make a proclamation. You ready?
Proclamation. Oh no.
Are you ready for this?
What? Go ahead.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the single most confusing movie Marvel has ever made. And not because it's like I didn't understand it. It's confusing because I don't know if I liked it.
The Go agrees. Yeah. I guess that's kind of how a lot of us feel. I think. I think as far as the movie itself, it had a solid opening. It had a solid first act. Solid intro. And I'm watching this in IMAX 3D, like literally less than 24 hours ago. Like,
wait, are we spoiling stuff or not? I just need to know.
Yeah.
Like, are we aiming this towards spoilers or not? Or
right.
I just need to know. So
for those listening, I actually forgot to mention this at the very beginning, that this is a spoiler review. So if you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, log off right now. You can't say I didn't warn you. All right, it's your last chance. If you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania yet,
you should go to the
you can go to watch the movie and then come back. Yeah.
Put the banner underneath that says spoiler warning or something. You can do that.
Oh, the banner you said?
Yeah, you go on the side.
Right. You're right.
Then just because then people come in because it's live.
Right. I'm putting it in all caps.
Good idea. Now while you're typing, I'll talk. Right. So this is the thing. I came out of this movie about 2 hours ago, approximately, and I still don't know what I thought about this movie. Like, and this is normally Marvel's. It's easy. It's like I liked it, and that's it. I'm just gonna talk about how much I loved it. I can't do that while being like honest here. I liked some of it, hated some of it though, and I'm really confused. Like, I didn't like MODOK because we're talking about spoilers. So I just like they do this over and over. Okay, like you Ghost, Taskmaster, MODOK. They do this constantly. They ruin villains by making them good guys. I want bad guys.
Now, for MODOK, I was really hoping to see or at least hear the voice of Patton Oswalt, and it didn't happen. Okay, shame on you, Peyton Reed, for not giving us Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt as I don't care about the Eternals post-credit scene. All right, Pip the Troll my ass. Okay, but yeah, and that's my only complaint about Ant-Man and the Wasp was MODOK. That's done. For me, like, I feel like MODOK was kind of like a nice little like comic relief, I guess. But I also have heard. Yes, I know that was coming. I knew you were gonna say that, and I understand that MODOK is not a comic relief character in the comics, and even in other portrayals that I've seen of him in like animation. But I kind of felt like MODOK was kind of just there, almost like how in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like we had John Walker, like he's the new Captain America, but then he kills the
No.
dude in Europe, and then he's like discredited, but then he shows up on the series finale, and he's got his little like makeshift frisbee, like still trying to be Captain America. No, it literally looked like a metal frisbee that dude like put
No, no,
together.
you're right about that
Like
part.
it's like Morgan Saw. I'm like, oh, he's still here. What? Like, didn't we already like kick you out? No, you're not Captain America. Goodbye. Okay. And then because I had also heard that Corey Stahl was gonna come back, and the way they explained like how the Yellow Jacket became like Modoc, and it's just like everybody in the theater is just laughing like the whole that during that whole sequence. It's like seeing like seeing how I guess Darren Cross was like only a head and like the rest of his body had shrunk. And then like Kang finds him and gives him this new body. And now Modoc is like a machine only determined to, only designed for the, I don't know the rest. Only for killing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Ant-Man's like, technically that's Modoc. I'm like, wow. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he served little to no purpose besides the full circle and nostalgia effect. The goat, I completely agree. Goat, but yeah, goat. If you're listening, I completely agree. He was just a comic relief character. I feel like, but I also liked the way, and as I was in our Discord chat, Khalil, I forget who said it. Whoever Big Cheese is, they had said that like Marvel always does this with movies, like whether if it's Multiverse of Madness or um, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, they'll always just have one film that's just a setup for the next film, and there's no standalone films anymore. Everything's
They
a
don't
part of
always do this
some
though.
bigger, like, well, not with every film, but with a lot of the films recently, it's like, how can we set up the next thing? How can we get them like excited for, in the case of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, how can we hype up Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty and and Loki season 2? I mean, with the end credit scene, Loki season 2, it's like, and they don't allow these movies to just kind of exist on their own and stand on their own 2 feet. I don't think.
Okay. So you're right, but you're also a little bit wrong. Okay.
Okay.
See,
Explain.
the end credit scenes that's the point. The point of the, like, my favorite example of this is Captain America: The First Avenger, right? That movie is probably, unless I'm completely blanking something, probably the earliest kind of direct setup to the Avengers we had gotten until that point, right? That was basically a lead into the Avengers. You know what that movie contained? A full self-contained Captain America story. You know what that movie contained? It was a full, irrelevant to, the larger thing kind of story of Captain America. That was, again, and I think you would agree with me when you say that's probably the most setup up until that point in the MCU we'd gotten for the Avengers directly, unless you want to count, I guess, Loki and Thor, right? Like, that was the most direct thing, and there was a full story. This, like, the problem is when Marvel is now what they're trying to do for some, I don't know why, because it's not like they movies need more hype. Like, it's not like they're, struggling to get people excited, right? But what they're doing is they're basically like, instead of giving you a self-contained story, which develops these characters, we're just going to just tell you what's coming next. It's a trailer. It's a 2.5 hour long trailer, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could even say with the post-credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home was literally a commercial for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but at the same time, like No Way Home,
that's okay,
right? But yeah, I mean, it's a like you're saying, like No Way Home is its own story, and even going back to Captain America: The First Avenger, it's like, yes, it is, its own standalone story, and yes, the mid-credit scene was a abridged version of the scene that we saw in the Avengers. So I mean, I think that's the right way to set up a future project. But I also think that with really, I guess with Ant-Man, with Quantumania, it goes back to the season finale of Loki, where we first saw He Who Remains, a variant of Kang the Conqueror, and they killed He Who Remains, and then unleashed pretty much you know uh, Kang the Conqueror. He pretty much takes over the TVA. It is still my headcanon that the TVA exists within the quantum realm. That was neither confirmed nor denied.
Oh,
That's
don't even
that.
start with the
That's
quantum confirmed and denied. Oh, don't even start there.
no, no. I mean, like it hasn't been like officially confirmed or denied by anyone. But that's just like one of the theories that I've heard, and I mean, nothing would surprise me at this point. I mean, I was watching the recap, like literally right before the movie started. I was watching. There's a video on Screen Crush. Shout out to Screen Crush, right? Ryan Airy. He did like a like a 20-minute long recap of like the story so far with Ant-Man and with Scott Lang and Hank Pym and everyone. And he had said how in Avengers Endgame, the most important rat in the world activated the quantum tunnel, and then like I guess his dog had said like, "What if that rat was Kang?" To which Ryan Airy like responds like, "Honestly, nothing would surprise me." I mean,
So I have a question.
what if that rat was actually like a variant of Kang?
So I have a question for you. Very simple
I have an
question.
answer,
Okay.
hopefully.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Throughout the movie, they shrink and grow, right?
You talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second
They,
one from
no, I'm
2018?
saying in this movie, the Quantumania,
Oh yeah,
they shrink and
oh
grow a
yeah,
lot in the
okay.
movie, right?
Yeah.
So the question is this: in the first Ant-Man, they set up the premise that if you shrink enough, you end up in the quantum realm, right? So it's like a
Correct.
small world. That's the
Yep.
idea.
Negative
So
zone.
if Ant-Man grows in the quantum realm, doesn't he just leave the quantum realm and come back up to the normal world? And if he shrinks too much, shouldn't
Mm.
he go? Like, does he end up in another? Like, what if he shrunk a ton again in the quantum realm? Does he end up in like another smaller world, or is it like a backwards thing where he ends up back at the top? How does that work? Because they were growing and shrinking like nobody's business, but at the same time, I thought you get to the quantum realm by shrinking a ton. Like that's what happened with like remember Janet ended up there because she shrunk between the particles. Remember Ant-Man went
Mm-hmm.
there because he had to shrink between the particles. There's a whole like thing, and now it's like you can grow and shrink in the quantum realm like you're on in the normal world, but it's technically a
Mm-hmm.
shrunk world. So if you grow or shrink too much, don't you end up in a different world? I'm confused. I was confused.
Well, probably what they're what they're going to. I don't know if they're going to actually like officially confirm or deny your quite. I don't know if your question is going to be directly answered in the MCU, Khalil, but
It
my
should
guess
be.
is that uh, Kevin Feige, if you're listening, but
Please.
my guess is to answer your question. Once you get to the quantum realm, it becomes like it's its own microscopic universe. So my guess is you probably just shrink infinitely, and then once you get to the quantum realm, like it just becomes like its own world outside of time and space where you're able to expand and shrink, and kind of the rules of the earth, the rules of like kind of the real world would apply in its own microscopic universe just
But didn't
outside
Ant-Man get
of
out
the
in the first
concept.
movie by growing?
Yeah.
So, but then he grew into
Well,
like
but then what they did was they explained how there's like the quantum void, and I think like with each Ant-Man movie they've expanded upon the quantum realm more and more. Like the first film, he goes subatomic and makes it out of the quantum realm, and then we actually see the quantum realm in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And like for Quantum Mania, they're just adding another layer to the quantum realm, and we're kind of deepening our understanding of the quantum realm and quantum mechanics, sort of. I mean, you could always just chalk it up to it's a movie, but I also feel like a
I
movie,
could.
but I also feel like there's a finite amount of those hands that a movie can play before it just becomes annoying.
Well, I think
Uh,
Marvel basically is
Still has
like,
mass
because
regardless of how small he is. Sure.
but like you have mass, but like if like this is the thing, like I'm willing, like I look at this within the realm of the movie, but if you're giving me rules in one movie, right, you have to at least explain. Like I'm okay with believing these rules are different, but you have to explain why, or make, like I have to, like I can't just say, okay, we're doing this now, because like I don't, like my brain doesn't understand why, like when it was told if you shrink between the, like that's what they were yelling at us for 2 movies. If you shrink between the atoms or whatever, or the particles, you end up in the quantum realm and then you can't get out. But then Ant-Man got up like growing, and we're like, okay, so you shrink to go in, you grow to get out, and then it's like, well, no, now you just shrink and grow and walk around and jump around and all that stuff. Because remember, didn't they need like special suits even in as far as like Endgame? Then they're just walking around the quantum realm like like with their clothes
Yeah,
on.
they did actually. You actually brought up a really good point.
I
Um,
know. I don't
wow,
understand.
wow. I
They
mean,
need they needed suits.
I actually was kind of thinking that as I was watching as I was watching the movie, that scene where Cassie powers up that device, and it's like it's like a satellite for the quantum realm, and then it's like they all get sucked into the quantum realm. It's like yeah, I that
Like,
now
is
that you
it
mention that,
oxygen?
that actually is.
Is there oxygen in the quantum realm, or is it like the water where there's no oxygen? Like that does it. Like at least like you like can you, would the oxygen be too thin maybe to breathe in the quantum realm? Like I don't know where the quantum realm is, because no one, like, is it, because if it's technically space, then there should be no oxygen. But if it isn't space, then you know like I don't know what does the what's in the time stream. I don't know. I'm not up to date on my science,
Right,
so
right.
I know I'm confused. I'm just watching the movie. I'm like, I swear Captain America needed to wear a special suit to get into this realm, or
Yeah.
to stay in this realm.
Huh,
But
oxygen
also,
particles bigger than them living inside atoms.
so living
You're
inside
right.
the thing
Yeah.
they're made up of.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, whoever the goat is, you bring up a lot of great points, and keep them coming. Just for anyone who is watching this live, just know that the chat is open. If you're watching this on Twitch or directly on StreamYard, the chat is open. So give us your questions, and we will do our best
I have
to
no answers. I just got a
answer
lot of
them.
questions.
My background is in mechanical engineering. I'm a student here at. I'm actually in my. I'm not in my dorm room this time. Um, I'm in the study room on the first floor of my building that I live in. So, I mean, my background
Must be
is
you.
mechanical engineering. As an ME who's taken college level, both high school level and college level physics,
That's what must
and
be you.
so the goat, in the chat, to your point about oxygen, them being subatomic, so technically there is no oxygen. I mean, yeah, Khalil. I mean, again, this is all theoretical. Like, I
That's the
mean,
problem.
Schrodinger's cat, and multiverse theory. It's like, and yeah, again, I guess that's the problem is that like in the real world, quantum theory and like the idea that there's a quantum realm that would exist outside of time and space, you just shrink infinitely, and where like time would stand still. Like the fact that that's all theoretical in real life, and Avengers Endgame is just a movie. Even Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it's all a movie. It's all science fiction, and even in the real world, we consider it theoretical. We consider it science fiction. Yes, physically speaking, for you to be subatomic, there is no oxygen because oxygen travels. They have atoms that travel in molecules. Like the next level up is a molecule. So molecules are bigger than atoms. So the fact that they're subatomic, they're smaller than atoms themselves. No, there would not be any oxygen. in the quantum realm at all.
They would die.
So truthfully, how did Janet survive down there for 30 years? I don't know. Kevin Feige.
Okay.
If you're
Like,
listening.
you know what they need? They need like a science documentary on Disney Plus just to give us all the rules.
Right.
Because like that's
yes,
the thing. Like this is the thing. I have no problem if you're not like, look, let's be honest. If you gave me a bunch of rules, I wouldn't be able to tell you if they're true or not because my physics knowledge is as much as grade 10
right.
physics. So I'm not like, you know what I mean? But I just need rules so my brain can understand why am I watching what I'm watching. Because especially when they take so much pride in like all of like the planning, it's like, why don't you share what the rules are? Because then we don't think we're making up. Also, just something I have to add in because I'm reading these series of comments from Dark Sage, and I'm like, and so I don't know if you noticed this, but what's the one theme around Kang you've kind of noticed through Loki and now Ant-Man and the Wasp, specifically with the music chosen for the trailer and the entire premise of Loki? There's one character who should come to mind.
You said the music choice for
the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer and the entire basically theme of Loki. There's one character who should come to mind. Think about the song that's used, the Elton John song that's used in the trailer. It's called
Elton John song. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
No Yellow Brick. What's the Yellow Brick Road?
Oh, the Wiz, the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, thank you. Did you not notice the theme of the Wizard of Oz is basically Kang? Like they're setting up Kang to basically just be the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay. I mean,
because think about it. What was like the entire plot of Loki was finding this big scary thing, which just turned out to be Kang, which I know is supposed to be big and scary, but like you know what I mean? Like the way they kind of presented Kang, it was the guy behind the scary screen, right? Like behind these scary people is just this guy, right? It's the same thing here. They're making. I think Marvel is going to pull the biggest gotcha moment ever. I think very much like what Darkseid is saying. Kang is basically a front. I think Kang will be, I guess, the villain of a movie, but I think it'll turn out Scarlet Witch was the villain the whole time.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned Scarlet Witch. I'm actually gonna, follow up to your point, and then I will go to the chat and answer Darksaber's questions. But Scarlet Witch, one of the theories that I heard from Eric Voss on New Rockstars, and this was 2 years ago, and this was I guess denied by Loki season 1. One theory I heard was that after the post-credit scene of WandaVision, where we see her in the house with the Darkhold and like the Doctor Strange music comes, like, what if it's like you said, Scarlet Witch is the real villain all along?
She is.
It was not Agatha all along. Okay. I really walked right into that one. I did not plan on that. And it's like, what if it's Scarlet Witch looking for a reality in which her kids exist, and then she's terrorizing the multiverse? So then they brought in Loki to the variant of Loki to go and find Scarlet Witch, which ended up not being true in Loki season 1, but there might be hope for that theory yet, because like you had said, it's probably Scarlet Witch all along, and that Kang is just the front man. I don't know. Going to
the first Avenger movie is called Kang Dynasty. The second one's called Secret Wars. There's a reason for that, right? I find it hard to believe that Kang is going to be because it feels the way they're setting up Kang feels so much like they are basically baiting us into like saying this is going to be the guy, because I think they're trying to mimic the Thanos set so much because they want everyone to just kind of believe it's going to be some Kang thing, but in reality it's going to turn out that basically that entire movie is going to be like kind of like what the Endgame, right? Like no one knew what the hell was going to happen in Endgame. as much as we wanted to think we did, no one really knew that it was going to be a past version of Thanos being the villain of Endgame, right? Like that was I don't think that was, at least as far as I'm aware, was not really anyone, like everyone thought it was going to be normal Thanos with a bunch of past versions of the Avengers, right? I think we're basically getting set up for the biggest like gotcha moment in cinema history, which is, you know, Kang really had nothing to do. Is like going to be basically like the guy behind the curtain in the Wizard of Oz, right? Like he's going to be that kind of hoax, whatever, and it's going to turn out the real bad guy is the most powerful character, as Kevin Feige said like 7,000 times for a reason. The most powerful character in all of Marvel is Scarlet Witch. Why would he keep saying that unless it's true?
I actually had never thought of that. I'm going to the Twitch chat. So, first time chat, Dark Saber 9117. First time chat. Round of applause. Thank you. Dark Sage. I do have an interesting theory for Phase 5 and 6, as far out there as it as far out there as it may be. Eventual sex. Hi. What? Oh, no. Not reading that one. Dark Sage says, I believe Kang is not the big bad of the multiverse saga, but rather Carnage. I know he is a Sony property right now, but I still think we are going. Khalil, you can let me finish?
Okay. Go ahead.
Who's up? Okay. Whose podcast is this? All right.
Right.
Don't telling you, don't maybe come on to the Comic Boys podcast. Huh?
Hey,
I know I know he is a Sony property right now, but I still think we are going to get a variant of the Maximum Carnage showing up in the multiverse and wreak havoc on Kang and Avengers and whoever else Marvel has planned. I know that sounds out there, but I stand by that. Kang will do his stuff and it will lead to the Dynasty and Secret Wars and all of that. But as he is wrecking the multiverse and it is about to be destroyed, I think we will see a variant of Carnage show up and wreck Kang and cause immense havoc on everyone, and both of them will meet their match at the end. So that is my theory. Well, Dark Sage, thank you so much for that theory. Honestly, I had not even thought about that. And Carnage, you're right. He is a Sony property. There was, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I saw it opening weekend. I thought it was okay. It was not. I thought it wasn't as bad as my bad. Wasn't as good as the first one, but it did kind of give us a teaser a little bit for Spider-Man No Way Home. So and then in that post-credit scene, Venom did mention like the hive mind in like 3,000 years or something like that. So it is a stretch, but I don't see Marvel going that far to like bring in a Sony property. Like I feel like that at that point that's just like desperation at that point. I mean, because the Sony Marvel universe is a fledgling universe at best, and it's really kind of running on fumes after Morbius. So I mean, sure, Craven the Hunter coming up. Aaron Taylor Johnson's gonna do his thing, but I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about that superhero universe. But Carnage, I mean, maybe with Midnight Suns, maybe with like the upcoming Blade film, and they're getting into the horror area. And last thing I'll say before turning it back over to you, Khalil. Post credit scene of the Eternals. All right, the Excalibur blade, and then the Dark Saber in Thor: Love and Thunder. So I think that there may be a slight possibility, because I feel like doesn't like Venom or Carnage. I remember reading something about like Venom and like the Excalibur and Black Knight. So somewhere in that hodgepodge of characters, maybe is my official answer. Darksaber.
I'm just gonna provide you with a little bit of context here, okay?
Please.
Sony is another company, and I know this very well. Sony's a company of people who believe they're smarter than everybody else. Now, they barely gave up Spider-Man. And one could argue they actually did it. I can tell you with full confidence, there is a 0% chance they let Carnage be a main kind of character in Marvel, unless there's only one chance. Okay, the only chance here is unless Marvel is basically willing to fork over half the earnings or more than that of everything related to that.
Right.
Now, Marvel won't, because remember, the Sony deal was not like a generous thing by the Sony. They said, "Hey, Marvel, you pay for this entire franchise. We're taking all the money you make off of it." Like, remember, this is still a business, right? Like, Sony's going to basically say, if you want to use Carnage, sure, give us every single dollar that movie makes. Now, if it's an Avenger movie, that's going to be a lot of money, right? So I would say at this point in time, unless Marvel actually buys back this stuff, which at this rate, based on what Disney's kind of doing and kind of trying to pull back a little bit on spending on their content, it's likely right now it's like a 2% chance of it happening, which is, maybe Bob Iger quits, and then someone who wants to spend a ton of money comes in and buys back Spider-Man. Like, it's a very low chance just because of who Sony is. Also, think about it. They've still got Doctor Doom, Dormammu, and Galactus just somewhere in the universe.
Oh, true.
If you need a bigger thing than Kang,
Dr.
you got those three guys.
Right,
also
you got
all
those
the
three
X-Men villains.
True, right.
They've got a lot of toys to play with still. They don't even need to worry about Carnage. And Carnage is cool. I love Carnage. And I especially love me some Woody Harrelson, but
oh yeah.
We don't like that can stay over there for now. They're still doing their Terminator style Spider-Man movie. They're doing their Kraven the Hunter. They do want to do some Maximum Carnage type movie eventually in that Sony world. So you'll probably get your Maximum Carnage kind of style thing there, but
So essentially what you're saying is that like the Sony Marvel universe, or the Spunk as it's officially Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, they gotta work on that acronym.
The Stunk?
It's Spunk, I think.
I'm gonna go Stunk for now, because that's
I'll put
what
in the chat.
Happened. It's Stunk.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the chat. All right, Spunk.
But Stunk more accurately describes the content they be making.
You know what, Khalil? Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. So yeah, the Spunk.
There's no way someone's this dumb as Sony doing this.
Man, but yeah, I think the Spunk has to pretty much get the ball. Get the ball. The Sony Marvel universe. There, the Sony Marvel
Which
universe.
Which idiot Sony thought this was smart? I'm sorry, I can't.
I will let all of you in the comments below, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this at a later time, suggestions for what should we call the Sony Marvel universe? Should we call it the Spunk? Should we just stick with Sony Marvel universe? Like, should we
just call it
I don't know, like
Stinky universe?
No, Khalil, we're not going to do that. You can call it the Stinky Universe on the Comic Boys podcast. Okay, you come onto the Cobbs Corner, we're going to call it the Spunk. Okay, guys, we're calling it the Spunk or the Sony Marvel Universe. All right. Until we come up with a better acronym, it's a working title. Okay, it's working title. All right.
I'll make.
You are out here. You are stalling. You are out here stalling. Okay, I'm trying to get to my point, and you are arguing with me over moot points. Okay, it's called the Spunk, and for the remainder of this live stream, it will be the Spunk. All right.
Okay, the Spunk.
All right. So the Spunk has to get the ball rolling first. They gotta, whatever future plans they got for Carnage or for Kraven the Hunter. They got to get that out of the way and stand on their own 2 feet as a solo shared universe of Marvel characters
Oh my
just on
god,
the
you are
Sony side.
lying.
And see, exactly.
This is real.
I told y'all. I told you. I told you. Told you.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they got it.
Okay.
The spunk has to continue. It has to, go through its stages of development. All right. And
Development.
as much as I would like to think, as much as I still think that Avengers Infinity War is the best Avengers movie, I still consider it to be better than Endgame. Again,
Good. Smart.
again in the chat, in the chat, this is a free and open environment. It's a safe space. Y'all can put whatever you want in the comments. Feel free to agree, disagree. I really don't care. I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm saying like Infinity War is still as of the recording of this episode of this podcast, it is in my opinion the best Avengers movie. That might
Easily.
change with Secret Wars though, because I've heard that with Secret Wars they're bringing in like everybody. Because
Scarlet
like
Witch.
with Secret Wars they're bringing in like all the different all the mutants, the Fantastic Four. They're just bringing in like everyone from every different universe. I even heard, and this might just be a rumor, the scene in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the Illuminati scene, was a test run because they didn't advertise. Now they might have advertised Professor X in the trailer, but they did not advertise the Inhuman King guy.
Black Bolt.
They didn't. Yeah, yeah. They didn't advertise Black Bolt or the variant of Captain Marvel or John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I had heard like speculation that it would be Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Like I heard that was just a test run, and like all of them died in that scene, like Deadpool 2 style, and you know.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2 style. I realize that I am doing this podcast with a Canadian. So thank you, Canada, for there was a Super Bowl ad recently said thank you, Canada, and I just had to let you and Tom from Two Sides of the Story, and I just big ups to you guys.
As a representative of the entire country of Canada, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to be the mouthpiece for all of Canada.
As I'm the mouthpiece for the entire United States.
Exactly.
Oh God, no. Just the Marvel fans. But yeah, I mean that. Well, I guess the theory that like what if that was all just a test run to see how audiences would respond to the possibility of X-Men and Fantastic Four. The only problem I have with Fantastic Four is the fact that I grew up with the Fantastic Four movies in the 2000s. Like the first Fantastic Four from 2005 with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. Like that was like my favorite movie as a kid. Okay, when I was like 4 years old, like I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking this is like the best movie ever. It was that and The Incredibles. Like honestly, like those are two of the movies that like they're probably the reason why I even have a podcast today and why I love superhero movies to this day. All right. Khalil, don't give me that look. I was a kid at the time.
You put The Incredibles and Fantastic Four in the same category.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I rewatched like Fantastic Four from the 2000s and even Rise of Silver Surfer, which I think I've only seen once. I feel like I saw it in theaters and I only saw it that one time. And Galactus was this dark cloud and like the CG. No, he was literally like a dark cloud. He was like a black hole. Like we barely even like see like the crown or nothing. So like I didn't really get to see Galactus until I played Lego Marvel Superheroes on the Xbox 360. But
hey!
Yeah. The boss battle at the end. So
yeah.
Yeah, big ups to all you gamers out there. I'm streaming on Twitch, but yeah, it's like they've already they tried. If you really want to get so specific, they've tried 3 times. There was in the 90s. There was a low budget I think straight to DVD Fantastic Four, which I think is available on YouTube right now. If it is, I
The
might put
greatest
a
one ever.
link
Yes.
to it. I might put a link to it in the description if it is available on YouTube. It never made it to theaters, and they only made the movie so they could like keep the rights or something. Uh, I've heard it's like really just cringy and just like one of those. It was the either the 80s or the 90s. Yeah, it's one of those like,
The
it was a
94
'90s
one we're talking about.
movie. Yeah, 1994. Yeah, there's that one that a lot of people forget exists, and then there's the 2005 one with Chris Evans, and
Also, the two great animated series shows they had, but
oh yeah, no. I mean, like the I remember watching like the original Fantastic Four animated series on DVD from Blockbuster, and yeah, it's like they've tried so many times before, and then we ain't even gonna talk about Fant Four Stick. I actually own that
ooh,
movie. I actually own that movie on Blu-ray. Now that I think that's the only Fantastic Four movie that I like physically own.
why does that
Um,
not surprise me? Like that might be the least shocking thing I've heard today.
I mean, the problem I had with that movie was not even like the story. It's
The
like the
one
fact that
problem?
I mean, the fact that like none of the cast members were like really well known. Like I feel like that movie was the first time I saw Michael B. Jordan on screen. Like I know that wasn't I know like I think his first movie was Hardball. It was a baseball movie back in like 2001 that he did with Keanu Reeves. But so I mean he's been acting for a minute, but I feel like his breakout role was Creed, which came out like 2 months later. So that and like the story was rushed. The climax, it didn't feel earned. I mean, I kind of look at Fan Forced kind of like the same way that I would probably look at the Incredible Hulk. Like I've even like my second episode, like I literally said like the third act wasn't earned. They rushed through the climax and it didn't really leave an impact on the franchise. I mean, Fan Four Stick, it's like they're clearly setting up a sequel. They're setting up their own separate universe, but it's one of those movies that like it just didn't work out. I mean there's a lot of movies that might have had potential, especially when you got like the star potential. You got I mean you got Michael B. Jordan, although nobody really remembers him for that role. Everybody remembers him as like always Killmonger, and he's got Creed 3 coming up in a few weeks. It's like nobody remembers him for might remember him for Hardball, who knows? But like no one really remembers like,
Also,
oh, that's
he
that's the Human Torch from Fant Four Stick. Like nobody remembers him as the Human Torch from Fant Four
can
Stick.
I do a
It's like
small self plug quickly because it's very relevant to this.
sure, go ahead.
Um, I did just a few months ago, whatever. Me and my co-host did an audio commentary to that fan four stick movie. Um,
Oh,
I had to carry that because he fell asleep because of how bad it was. So check that one out. Check that one out. That was a tough time.
for
Um,
sure. I'm checking that one out. Cobbs
that
Corner
was tough.
listeners, if you guys have not already, please follow Khalil, this guy. Yep. Follow Khalil. Listen to that episode, that audio commentary of Fan Four Stick. I might start doing audio commentaries. I might take a page out of Khalil's book. And your co-host, I haven't met him. What's his name? Tommy?
No, Alon is his name. He's never appeared in any of these things. He's just kind of
Oh.
been, yeah. He's
Oh,
gonna
is,
be
is
something.
is is he the one who we hear like in your intro? Where is he the
Yes,
one who said that like Universal should sue Sony or whatnot? Like
yes,
the
yes,
intro to like your episode, yeah,
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 yeah. He's also like
yeah.
on half the podcast episodes, but yeah. So he exists within that
Okay,
realm from time to
right,
time.
right.
Maybe there'll be a
So
more
he's
audio commentary soon. That's coming eventually.
for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start doing some audio commentary for different movies. Maybe like once movies show up. Like I realize Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is on Disney Plus now, and I only saw it that one time. Like I saw it November the 10th. I saw it that Thursday. It was officially in theaters everywhere on the 11th. I did exactly what I did today with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I saw the movie one day before in IMAX 3D. IMAX 3D. I saw Black Panther 2 and did the same for Ant-Man 3. So now that Black Panther 2 is on Disney Plus, I might do like a audio commentary. The only thing is like, and I guess like it kind of reminds me of how like a lot of the movies that I own on DVD, like I actually own the movie Dodgeball, for instance. I've seen it a million times. Dodgeball, it's an amazing movie. It's actually potentially getting a sequel, which we will talk about in a minute. Dodge on, yeah, yeah, for Dodgeball, like they also have like a DVD commentary. So I feel like, and I think that's also maybe a bit of the magic that is missing from the streaming era. And I know I sound old.
No, you're right.
I mean,
You're
me,
right.
I'm only 22 years old. I'm old enough to remember Friday nights going to Blockbuster and picking out movies. It's like, browsing through the aisles. Like I'm old enough to remember
No, I don't.
when that was a
I'm not
thing.
old enough
I
to
got
remember that.
you see Khalil's like I got that last taste of the analog era, that last taste of like physical media, and I witnessed technology improve. I witnessed the rise of streaming. I remember when Netflix only did DVDs. I remember when watching movies on your laptop was
I mean,
still a new
I remember
thing.
that, but
And okay, yeah,
I
but
was
like
that young.
okay, like
I have a ton of DVDs.
but yeah, no, I mean,
Too.
I got a ton of like DVDs, Blu-rays. Like I was like as I was rewatching, like I recently purchased like all 9 Fast and Furious movies on DVD, and like as I'm watching like the previews for like I think it was the fourth one, Fast and Furious, which came out 2009. I forgot how big Blu-ray was back in like the late 2000s and early 2010s. Like I forgot like there were like all these add-ons and different features. I thought I've like never used, even when it was a thing. Like I never used like all the
Oh yeah.
add-ons and like the behind the scenes, but like the DVD commentary, like where you could watch the movie and listen to like the director and like like the directors and the producers. I feel like we don't have that today. I feel like
One of
that's
the
missing from like
So one of my biggest suggestions to Disney forever is, and I know they don't listen to me because this I've been telling them forever. Release the movie with the audio commentary mixed into it on Disney Plus. Give
please.
people that experience.
Right, yeah.
Because this is the thing with audio commentaries I find. They can, if you don't have them, like, if you don't have it right, it can kind of like because it doesn't work with the first watch of a movie because you can't really, like, you're not really listening to the movie, you're listening to people talk about it.
True.
But like the end, so I have Infinity War and Endgame and Black Panther, unrelated to everything else, on DVD, right? So, but mainly so I watched Infinity War with the audio commentary. It was mixed in nicely. It was perfect. I loved it. They need to do that on Disney Plus. I don't know why. Like, basically make Disney Plus the Blu-ray stuff, because nobody's gonna buy the Blu-rays anymore, unfortunately. Anyways, like I only bought
Sure.
Endgame Infinity War just because um, I wanted the both steelbooks, to sit next to each other because I'm weird. Um,
Oh
but
no, I
like,
mean that's like actually like that's like totally normal. I mean, even for me, like I don't have a like when I'm on campus, like I don't have a Blu-ray player. Like I have my grandfather's old portable DVD player, and like
damn.
in that DVD player, he just so happened to have like Dodgeball, which I've watched on repeat these last 2 years, and also like War of the Worlds, Alien versus Predator, a bunch of like, Batman Begins. Like the DVD players from like 2005, so he's got a bunch of movies like from that era that it's like as I'm going through like the menu of Dodgeball, I'm realizing like, oh, DVD commentary, which I've actually never watched the movie with the DVD commentary, but it's like,
You should.
okay, so yeah, I can like listen to like the directors and like what's their like insights, like, but I think what helps is watching it once the very first time, watching it without the DVD commentary, and
You
like
have to. You
listening
can't
to
watch it
it.
with the.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta listen. You gotta watch it, like I would argue, even if it's a movie like in my case, like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I saw it in theaters. Before I do my audio commentary, I plan to watch it from start to finish on Disney Plus without the audio commentary, just stream it once. And then the third time I will do the audio commentary. Because even a lot of times, like when I'm doing like reviews for movies, it's like I might have to watch it like maybe a second or third time, especially like if I'll just like watch a movie and then I'll just like get up, I'll just like start watching the next movie and the next movie and the next movie, and then like some of my episodes have been scripted, others I've kind of just gone freehand. Actually, my episode last week, Rocky 2 was, or no, Rocky. Yeah, but no, actually tomorrow's episode. Right, I forgot because I record a week in advance. Yeah, tomorrow's episode is like partially scripted and partially unscripted, but but yeah, I guess like for audio commentary, watch it a couple times, just enjoy it for the first couple times, and then watch it with the audio commentary. But I definitely agree there should be DVD commentaries, and for me, like if it's yeah on streaming services, but also like for me, it's like if it's a movie that I really enjoy, because I don't own any Marvel movies on Blu-ray. I don't think I think we have, and we actually just recently moved, so I have no idea like where this movie is. I feel like the only MCU movie that I own is the first Avengers movie, which is on DVD, and I couldn't. And right, and because we recently moved, it's like even I don't know where it's in our basement somewhere in one of these 15,000 boxes. So like that, and like the only movies we have on Blu-ray, like we have Star Wars episodes 1 through 7 on Blu-ray, and that's comes with 3 bonus discs. Thing I liked about the thing I liked about Force Awakens was we bought it on Blu-ray combo pack with that whole digital copy business, which I've never done ever, and they've got like the DVD, but they've also got like a separate disc where it's like the documentary as well,
Mhm.
and like actually on at my university library I watched Gladiator, which I've only watched in DVD format that one time, and and then there was Gladiator, but then there was like the 30-minute documentary along with the movie as well. So I think we're missing that. I mean, Marvel
Yeah.
assembled, but
Well, actually, I don't know if I don't know if you've seen the Endgame, or the Infinity War DVD has so many damn options. They did like the round table with the like all the directors, like with Ryan Coogler and then the Russo brothers and a whole bunch of other guys. They have they obviously have all the extra scenes. Then they have all I think I spent like 3 days going through that menu. It was fun. My DVD collection mainly includes Disney movies and Barbie movies. Yeah, and then Marvel and Star Wars a little bit over here, but yeah, mostly those two. Don't ask why. Just it's true.
it's like I almost want to ask you about the Barbie movies, but if you're not comfortable like talking
Hey,
about it, then
I used to
that's
like watching Barbie movies. Okay, when people were watching like their Fast and the Furious and James Bond, I was watching Barbie. Okay,
no. I mean that's
yeah, I
do
like
do
Barbie.
do do you? This is a judgment-free zone. We don't judge over here at Cobb's Corner.
Hey, those
All are
movies are
welcome
good, by the
here.
way. Very underrated
I
movies.
mean,
I think the movies are very underappreciated.
but you mean the Barbie, the Princess and the Pop Star, or are we talking like
Yeah,
Barbie's
I have that one on
Dream
DVD.
House? And oh wow, I
No,
only know
those
that
ones.
movie.
Those like those ripoffs. Like how like they used to do the Mickey Mouse ripoffs of things. It's like the Barbie ripoffs of the thing. Like I have like the Thumbelina, and I have like the Barbie as like a mermaid. I also have a
Oh,
younger sister.
I thought you meant maybe like movies like Ratatouille and like Wings and like Titanic 2, like all the
Yeah,
like like all the like foreign like ripoffs of movies. Like I think Ratatouille is like some foreign ripoff of like Ratatouille, and like I've actually seen Wings. It's like a Russian animated movie. Well, the version of it that I watched that I think I got from Blockbuster. It was it's a ripoff of Planes, the Disney Pixar movie Planes,
mhm.
and and yeah, it's a movie Wings, but it's like a Russian made cartoon with like
Of course it
American
is.
voice actors.
Yeah, I also have
So I was
every
wondering,
single
like,
like Disney movie, so like Disney
oh
animated movie. So
wow,
yeah, Lion
I
King,
mean,
Ariel, um,
Still not sure how I feel about that new Little Mermaid.
Hey, we love the Little Mermaid here, mainly because I picked it, and I picked everything Disney because I am biased and proud of it.
Right. I forgot.
And I'm gonna be right, by the way.
But yeah, I was just at Slam tonight, and they did. We was doing like "Don't Drop the Mic," or like "Don't Forget the Lyrics." When like, then they did like the Disney movie edition, and I think they did like the very last song was "Under the Sea" from the Little Mermaid. I did not on the Disney part, but
you know. I'm less proud of you now. I'm so proud of you. Damn it.
Yeah, Khalil. But yeah, I've seen. I think The Lion King I've seen in like every media format. Like I remember watching that movie for the first time. I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, and it was on VHS.
Of course, you're gonna say that.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, because it was on VHS. Like I remember in like kindergarten, like after school, like I'm old enough to remember like when the teacher wheeled in that television set.
You're like
on a
3 years older
Friday,
than me. Chill,
you knew that it was going to be a good day. I'm old enough to remember we had the TV bolted to the ceiling, and like you had to like sit. Everybody had to sit and like look up at the TV screen.
Hey, man, you're 3 years old. Chill. Let's chill a little bit here, okay?
No. I mean, I know I'm only 3 years older than you, but like this is like my childhood again. Like, and I'm sure like even in like 2004, 2005, like I'm pretty sure that was considered like old back then. I mean, I'm pretty sure VHS. I mean, VHS went out of production 15 years ago. So like, and then VCRs stopped being produced in like 2012. So
yeah, I never watched it.
I just. Yeah, so I mean, I understand that I'm not that old than you, but I guess I just was exposed to more like older forms of media. So yeah, The Lion King, VHS, Space Jam. I have watched only on VHS, and I've seen it on VHS more times than I've seen it on TV. I've streamed it once on HBO Max. I do own The Lion King on Blu-ray. Actually, now that I think about it, I've seen it Blu-ray, DVD, VHS. I might have streamed it once or twice. It's like my all-time favorite Disney movie. I think the remake was terrible. The remake was terrible. I'm so glad that I did not actually pay for my ticket. It's like just having to see Mufasa die in high definition, and it's no shade to any actor. It's no shade to Jon Favreau. All right, it's no
James Earl Jones old.
I mean, yeah, dude's like 91 years old. I mean,
he's old
got
though.
He's got a theater named after him. I'm like, yeah, okay, like. I was gonna say. I mean, what would have been blasphemy is if they cast somebody else to play Mufasa. Like, no.
Am I gonna be
bad that would have been blasphemy.
I don't think it would have been. I think it would have been better. I love James Earl Jones, by the way, legend.
Or just don't, or just don't do the remake. Because I feel like with these remakes, they always have like their own agenda. They always got to separate. They always got to separate themselves from the original, and it's like why reinvent the wheel when The Lion King is just such a classic. I mean, like why a quarter of a century later, why are we doing Foggy Nelson? Why are you doing a remake of a classic? Okay, it's like
hot take coming.
And I think also with The Lion King, what they did was they figured we got all this star power. We got Eric Andre, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen. Beyonce. Again, props. Again. Big ups to Canada. Beyonce, Childish Gambino, like, because again, I think for them they just rode the star power. It's like, okay, let's put a bunch of famous people in front of the camera and y'all do what y'all got to do. It didn't work with The Lion King. It didn't work with The Interview. It didn't work with The Hateful Eight. It's like, it's just another like cash cow. I feel like.
Okay, can I make a hot take? I need a hot take here. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
The best live action remake they did was Aladdin, and I'm someone who absolutely loves Aladdin. But I gotta tell you, again, we haven't seen Aladdin.
I've seen the original, but I have not seen the remake.
I think, and again, I know I'm going to be blasphemous because it's just the way people are. I think Will Smith, obviously did this whatever the hell happened to him now, but like Will Smith did an excellent job as the genie, and I think he did it his own way and made it his own thing. And I think he was able to be like that movie. I think was the single most fun I had watching a live action remake of all of them.
I don't really think. Now I haven't seen the Aladdin remake.
It's
Um,
good.
I've heard it got pretty okay-ish reviews, but I've
People are
also heard
haters though because it isn't the same.
there's a YouTuber, Shay Frillis Productions. He does a lot of video essays about like different movies and different topics, and like I was watching his review of like Shark Tale, his not even review
Yeah,
dissertation
Shark Tale,
on
awesome.
on Shark Tale and how it was not deserving of its 2004 Best Animated Feature nomination alongside Shrek 2 and The Incredibles. And okay, these are his words, not mine. Okay, and bear with me
Okay.
because I'm not good at regurgitating other people's content. Okay,
Okay.
he had said how like at least seeing Will Smith's face CGI'd onto a fish wasn't the worst. Like, oh well, it wasn't the worst CGI that Will Smith has ever done. And then he pointed out like the genie from Aladdin or something. And then and then he also brought up how and then like there's that scene where Oscar goes into Sykes Sykes off and snap it, you're not snapping it. It's like hey, relax, relax. A lot of white fish can't do it. Is he implying that he's a black fish? Because like black fish exists in the real world and he's not it. He's a blue streak clearer, blue streak cleaner. It's like, well, this isn't the only Will Smith movie with questionable racial implications. Bright. Um which I also haven't seen.
You see Shark
But yeah,
Tale?
I've seen Shark Tale. I saw it when I was 3, and I own it on DVD. I shouldn't say I own it. I borrowed it from my aunt when I was like
And never
5,
get back.
and never get it back.
Yeah. Then you
somehow
have
I ended up with 2 copies of Madagascar. Saw that movie in theaters when I was 4. I actually remember seeing Shark Tale in theaters in
yeah, I've never
2005.
seen anything since like
Or no,
Madagascar.
Madagascar in theaters in 2005. But yeah,
Madagascar legendary. Okay. Now,
but,
just to kind of go back to Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, because I know that was like I know I got a little distracted.
no, this
What
was
did you what did you think of it? Like, what was your overall impression of the movie?
Well, if you checked out the Discord, I said 6.3 out of 10, to which Big Cheese replied like, "Wow, point 0.3, so specific." Like, I mean, I always like do it on like a point system. I say 6.3 out of 10. It wasn't total garbage. It was not total garbage. I didn't feel like I was watching a parody. I didn't feel like I was watching like the MCU be a parody of itself, like we saw in Thor: Love and Thunder. I think that it had again, like I said earlier in this episode, it had a solid like beginning. Yeah, so had a solid beginning, had a solid start to it, but they kind of lost me in the second act and maybe it's just because I kind of like drifted a little bit. Like I don't know, like I never like fell asleep, and it's weird because like I saw this in the afternoons. Like I really try to see movies as early in the day as possible, and I really like going to during the week, not on the weekends when everybody else goes. So like I don't know, they kind of lost me in the second act, and then in the third act, it all came together in the third act. Third act they got me back. uh, I definitely think it's one of those movies that's like good for what it was. Do I think that it could have been like a 10 out of 10 in theory? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, theoretically, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think theoretically, like every Marvel movie. I mean, I was even watching a movie the other day about how like you read the plot of like the 2003 Daredevil movie, and it's like, yeah, in theory, that sounds like it could be a really kick-ass movie, but it just wasn't. Okay, I mean, now this movie's not Daredevil. Okay, this movie's not as bad as the
I don't know
2003
about that.
Daredevil. Let the record show. All right,
I'm not
but
saying that.
I just think that I'm standing by my 6.3 rating. 6.3 out of 10. Uh, Not amazing, not awful, just kind of in between. But I also feel like that's every Marvel movie nowadays. Like I haven't watched a single like blow my socks off movie like probably since Endgame, to be honest. Like And
Endgame
I
does
feel
not
like
blow your socks off.
like okay, well then since Infinity War, I guess. But like, because like I was even watching a video, like I saw a video on YouTube titled like the post Endgame problem, and I mean I guess it's like you as a fan of this franchise, like Infinity War and Endgame were just such great movies and just such like precious gems. It's
one
like
of them.
will we ever have anything like the future of the MCU? Is it ever going to be as good as it was before? And I guess we also have to accept the fact that you got different directors in a single franchise, and it's not 2018 anymore. And the Infinity Saga is over. King the Conqueror is not Thanos, and we've got one saga under our belt. And so,
Okay, so I'm just gonna so numbers give me stress. I'm gonna say that much. There's a reason I don't do math. Um, if I have to grade this movie,
doing yourself a favor.
I'd probably, and this is going to change between now and 10 minutes from now, and probably now, and I'm sure 24 hours from now, I'll probably have a completely different kind of view on this movie because I still have no idea what to think about this movie.
No.
I have to probably give it a 5
Oh,
out of 10.
wow.
If we're assuming 5 is like 50, 50 is half. But this can go like. Would I be shocked if this was the 7 by tomorrow? No. Would I be shocked if this was a 3 by tomorrow? No. Because there is so much of both. Because you know what it's like? It's like it's kind of a movie where you can take what you want from it. It was a fun movie, sure.
True.
It was not a standalone Marvel story. It was a whole bunch, there were so many other problems. I thought there were so many underwhelming performances, like especially some performances, including a certain daughter of Ant-Man, which were very hyped up as amazing performances, and I thought they just fell flat. And I was like, I don't buy this. There's certain floating heads which didn't live up to the hype.
Well, I knew that MODOK wasn't gonna be like. I knew that he was gonna be kind of like a side character, but I feel like every Marvel movie, like not every Marvel movie, but it's like, especially with that ending, it's like I feel like MODOK was kind of just a repeat of like John Walker. Like maybe we'll see him in a later film. Who knows? Or even like how in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or how there was
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, but like how there was Sonny Birch in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and how he's kind of just like there. I mean, he's not the main villain. Like the main villain is Ghost, but then he's just kind of like that third party who just. I mean, initially, yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, Sonny Birch. I mean, he's there as a villain as well, but
remember, you just compared MODOK to Sonny Birch. I need you to hear that.
He's not. No. You see, now my point is that they're sort of side characters that are not really there to like further the plot. And maybe there's some loose ends. Maybe they'll be tied up. Maybe they won't. I mean, one of the members, like even as I was watching Ryan Airy's, recap on Screen Crush, he pointed out how there was, if you remember from the first Ant-Man movie, in that scene, that scene where Darren Cross like kind of figures out that it's a heist and everything, and he's got the buyers in the room, and then he's like holding Hank at like gunpoint, and then that whole scene plays out. One of the members of Hydra escaped with one of the vials of Darren Cross's particle or whatever, and that was just never like, that was a loose end that was just never tied up like ever.
So there's this thing where they go back to things that happened ages ago and bring it back. I mean, Mandarin,
true,
Darren Cross.
I guess, I guess, but like
Hammer. But this is the thing. I think it's a problem if MODOK is a Sonny Birch level, because like think about it. they not only did this with MODOK, they've done this with Claw. They did this with Claw and Black Panther. He became a throwaway villain. One of the most iconic Black Panther villains became the guy Killmonger shoved in a bag. Think about that. Killmonger, one could argue they threw him away. Atuma in Black Panther. I know we talk a lot about Namor. Atuma's supposed to be a bad guy, as far as I'm aware, based on all my Marvel knowledge. Atuma's a bad guy. Atuma was just some like lowly hench person for Namor.
He was like second in command, like,
but wasn't like, he wasn't the Atuma who's like the bad guy and the guy, you know what I mean? Like I just think there's so many things where it's like you're taking these characters who provide real value. Crossbones, they threw him away, literally.
Crossbones. Right.
You know, Batroc the Leaper had more full character arc than Crossbones, Atuma, MODOK, Ghost, Taskmaster. Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah. No, you absolutely
Batroc
right.
the Leaper. Batroc the Leaper is what are we talking about here?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think Marvel kind of picks and chooses which villains to actually like utilize and give screen time and give like more of a
they hate us
backstory to. Wow, I mean,
like they're like, this is DC level hate of us. Like this is like straight up, like this is like straight up just like we're gonna make Steppenwolf the villain of a Justice League movie, like that level hate. By the way, I gotta ask you this question: how sick are you of hearing this sell Justice League to the Netflix thing?
That's a thing to sell Justice League to Netflix.
So Snyderverse to Netflix. Have you not seen this whole campaign?
This is a campaign to put Snyderverse. Why though? Like,
oh my god, you haven't seen the videos?
No,
I'm sending you these videos. Okay,
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna say these are the.
Send them to me, and you get my live reaction to it.
I'm gonna send them to you right now. I'm just gonna.
Cobbs Corner fam, this is something magical is happening now. It's like live news.
Okay, I'm gonna send you this link to this Twitter page.
You sending it to my Instagram?
Yes. If I knew how, there we go. Okay. You just have to scroll a little bit to get all of them. I need you to watch these videos, and I need you just to tell me what your view is. This is like real stuff, by the way, like what people are really doing to try to promote this stupid campaign.
All right. Yep.
And just by looking at the picture, you should know how stupid this is. These are videos they made essentially to try to convince people to sell.
So I just want to clarify that I told James not to hire Henry Cavill because I with the guy and never even looked back. That bitch had to go. Ben Affleck is fine, but he looks like a zombie since he started to go out with J-Lo again. We'll just probably let him direct the Swap Thing movie, right? He'll be okay with that. Everything's fine. My character in Peacemaker will be very important in season 2, and I'll soon have my solo movie, right? James been bitching about social media lately.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch about this. There's one for James Gunn. There's one for Henry Cavill.
Oof. Okay.
There's one for Zack Snyder in a Superman costume.
Right. So yeah, thank you for this. Thank you. This is perfect. You got to show me how to make these. Okay. You're welcome. Once I got. Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Average Bruce Wayne, good Batman, good Bruce Wayne, average Batman, great Bruce Wayne, great. Okay.
Now you're seeing like the terrible thing that is the
yeah. I wouldn't go so far as to say that Ben Affleck was the best Bruce Wayne
He's the
or
worst.
the best Batman.
He's the worst of both.
Okay.
Like, think about it. Okay, let's go
no,
through these.
that's actually fair. That's actually fair.
I want to go through these though. Let's go. Michael Keaton. I think he was a better Batman than Bruce Wayne.
You mean better Batman?
Or is that fair?
Than Ben Affleck? You mean?
No, I think he was a better Batman than he was a Bruce Wayne.
Better at Batman than okay, yeah. I just think the that cowl and like the costume wasn't very like mobile.
No, but I think he embodied. I guess.
I mean, he embodied Batman. Sure. I mean, he embodied it. Like,
I think the God, what's his name? Val Kilmer was a better. I think again, better Batman than Bruce Wayne.
Honestly, I completely forgot about Val Kilmer. To be honest, like
I forgot
Michael, he was Batman Forever, and then like wasn't George Clooney like Batman and Robin, or did we not?
George Clooney I think was better Bruce Wayne because he's literally Bruce Wayne than a Batman. I think Adam West was better at both.
I can't take either of them seriously. I mean, Adam West is a legend. Okay, we don't need this. I haven't seen any of the Adam West movies, and
it's a TV series, but yeah,
or TV series, whatever. Batman and Robin, I saw that movie as a kid on VHS, and and I completely forgot Batgirl's in that movie. Isn't gosh, what is the guy's name who played Robin? But he was like 30. It's like I don't know. Batman and Robin, I just can never really. I could never take that movie seriously. Like maybe it's because I have that connection to it as a child, but like
Chris O'Donnell, by the way.
Chris O'Donnell. It's like I don't know. I mean, George Clooney. A lot of times I forget about the fact that he's even played Batman, because that movie is just there's none of the jokes work. It's like seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I'm just like, okay.
Nice to meet you.
Man, it's like none of these jokes are working, bro. Just give up. No, stop. You're the Terminator. Be the Terminator. Like,
what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
I was literally just thinking about that. It's like, okay, look, and it's like at that point, like, look, you've been in America for like what, like over like 15 years at that point. It's like you've been doing American movies how long, and you still got an accent, bro? Like
in the universe, in this universe, there's only one absolute. Everything freezes. Let's kick some ice. These are all real quotes, by the way, from the movie.
I know. I'm aware. I tried rewatching it. I think it was that whole hockey team from hell scene. That's when I stopped watching. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I was like 17 at the time. Like
that's a movie you gotta do an too.
On the off chance that I would need to have like a second better movie playing in like I'd have to have like a second tab open where I'm watching like, I don't know, Avengers Infinity War or something.
Conscious state of mind when you're watching it. You just got to be in like some sort of altered state of mind to watch.
Oh, true. I mean, yeah, maybe it's one of those like get drunk good times. It's like, it's like, Batman and Robin, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It's like these movies. Okay, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is iconically bad. You see, now there's movies that are just plain bad, and then there's movies that are like so bad that they're good. Like they're just like, like they're just bad, and then they're so bad that they're good. The first one?
Yeah.
I'd say the first one's
place in my heart.
I think the first one not as good as the Suicide Squad, not as good as the second one. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that Suicide Squad is. I wouldn't go so far as to say that Suicide Squad is so bad that it's good. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it's like with Mortal Kombat Annihilation, it's like, yeah, it's get drunk good time. It's like, or the Room. I don't know if you've heard of the movie The Room.
I've seen the movie.
With Tommy Wiseau. Yeah, I mean, it's like they say it's like the worst movie of all time, but it's like iconic. It's just Yeah, it's a cult classic. It's iconically bad. It's a movie that we all love to hate. So yeah, I feel like
Ooh, you know another one?
maybe Batman and Robin is kind of like the Room of the superhero movies.
You want me to give you one? I guarantee you've never seen this one, and it's in that same category. I've watched it 5 times. I hate myself for watching it. It's called Status Update.
No.
It stars Olivia Holt and the guy and Austin from Austin and Alley.
Oh, Ross Lynch.
Yeah, that guy. And it is the single most stupid, like I don't know which morons wrote it type movie, about social media.
Oh, and it's from like 2018. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's new. It used to be on
Alright.
Netflix, not there anymore. At least here.
No, it's on Tubi. I don't know if you guys have that in Canada. Tubi.
Probably I don't know. There's some small
It's
stuff that we technically have. I don't have it.
yeah,
Here.
but yeah,
I-
Tubi is like
Where is it?
now
Yeah.
there was an ad for it during the Super Bowl, which I don't know if you guys get that in Canada as well.
Nope.
But yeah, Tubi it's like one of those free sites where they have like movies and shows, but it's like a lot of the shows and movies that when they leave the major like streaming platforms, they'll usually go to like Tubi or Pluto TV. It is on Amazon Prime Video. You said you do have Pluto TV where you are?
Yeah.
Well, it's not on that. It's on whatever Plex is, Vudu, Tubi, and Amazon Prime Video.
I think we have all those. It's not any of those here though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was on Netflix at once upon a time. It's gone now. I watched it like 5 times. It's such a terrible, awful, garbage movie, but I don't know. Ooh, you know another one? I don't know if you've seen this franchise. I think it's called Wild Things.
Wild Things.
I'm gonna double check that quickly. Yes, it's called Wild Things. It's Wild Things, Wild Things 2, Wild Things Diamonds in the Rough, and Wild Things Foursome.
Oh.
The first one was relatively popular. It had Kevin Bacon and Canadian Legend. And a Canadian Legend.
I didn't even know he was Canadian.
No, not Kevin Bacon. The other person. I don't remember her name. But then the other 2, 3, and 4 are all more in that kind of cult classic kind of thing because they're all straight to home video garbage movies.
Oh,
Nev
Campbell.
Yes, that's her name.
Right, Nev Campbell.
She's
yes.
Canadian. She's in Scream.
Right. Her. Right. Yeah. There's like there's a ton of Canadian legends who I didn't even know were Canadian legends. I mean, for the longest, a lot of times I forget that Justin Bieber is originally from Canada.
Oh no, we don't claim
you
this.
get.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't. I realize you go to. I realize you're from. Is it Toronto or?
Yes, Toronto.
Yeah. So do you guys claim Drake or?
Nah.
No.
None of us want anything to do with Drake.
None of you want anything.
Seemingly, we claim though. We claim him.
Right. Seemingly, Mississauga.
Yep. We claim Iman Vellani.
Seth Rogen. Iman Vellani.
Canadian legend. We claim.
Oh. Iman Vellani's from. Oh wow, Pakistani Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay.
We claim She-Hulk too. She's ours.
Tatiana Maslany, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Gosling.
We claim Ryan Gosling. Yeah, we claim both Ryans. We claim. We claim Maria Hill. We claim
Maria. Oh, Kobe Smulders. Yes, I know. You mean Robin Scherbatsky?
Yes.
Robin
in her better
Scherbatsky.
role.
You claim Robin Scherbatsky, right? Yes. To my Canadian listeners, I'm learning so much about your amazing country. I've visited. I've been to the northern. I've been to the Great White North thrice. The first 2 times were to Quebec. I went there with my. Once in middle school, then we did the same exact trip in high school, 7th grade and 11th grade. So I went there 2013 and then 2017. We Went up to the Great White North in April. It wasn't too cold. I remember 2017, we got off the bus. It was snowing in April in Quebec, which is apparently not even normal in Quebec.
No.
And yeah, we were getting flurries. Really beautiful country, really nice. The only like firm deal breaker for me is that it's just way too cold up there. Like I don't know how.
Come summer, it's so warm.
Nah, because like my cousin lives in Alberta, and the thing is like his side of the family, like that whole side of the family, that even like my family that I have in Toronto, they're originally from like Jamaica. They're originally from like the islands. Like, what was the climate shift like? Because like for my cousin Paul, he lives in Alberta. Like last time we talked to him, it was like December. He said it's negative 12 degrees. I'm like,
yeah, Alberta gets cold.
He said, yeah. Well, yeah, Fahrenheit. I forgot you guys. It's America. We got to be different from everybody. I mean, no,
because like I was just gonna say,
no, in engineering, like we're required to know Celsius. We're required to know the metric system is like required for engineering.
It makes more sense in like when you're talking about things where boiling temperatures are like set, right? And freezing temperatures.
Yeah, it's like 0 degrees. 100 degrees, but it's like 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Logical for people in the weather,
I guess. Oh well, weather definitely, yeah. But
like weather, Fahrenheit technically makes more sense, but I'm just stuck in Celsius because that's all I've said my whole life. But like I understand why Fahrenheit is used. That's the only thing like American that functions with a purpose. Everything else,
I completely agree. Yeah, but I honestly I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, like right now it's 48 degrees Fahrenheit where I'm at. Like I don't know what that is in like Celsius. What's that like?
No clue. I know 0 degrees Celsius.
Probably one. It's 1 degree Celsius. Yeah.
Oh no, here I'm saying.
But yeah,
I don't know about you.
Right, but
I can't do
where
math,
you are.
so
Of course,
doing my calculation.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also think that like. But I was just gonna say, like, think if you go to like states like Maine, and I think even if you go all the way down to like New Mexico, there's a couple highways that are technically in the United States, but the markers are in kilometers and not miles. I think like if you go like straight like down by the border between us and Mexico, or even the United States and the Great White North, there might be a few highways where it's kilometers, not miles. But I mean, for years, I mean, for years, like various groups in the United States have tried to just abolish the imperial system. But I guess the problem is that so many of us, like for generations, have like used this system. So it's like switching to a new one, you know. But us engineers, we're not even a part of that debate because we're required to know what everyone else uses. So yeah, feet makes sense.
Feet makes sense when you're measuring people, but when you're measuring objects, meters and centimeters makes sense.
Yeah, well, meters like it all makes sense because it's like base 10 and it's like.
But that's what they'd be like
1/100th and.
I feel like people still make sense, like measuring in feet and inches, but nothing else. Like anything is measuring in feet and inches that aren't people related, I feel like is dumb.
True.
Because everything else should be measured in real numbers, like easy to calculate numbers. Easy to calculate numbers. You know.
Were you going to say anything else? I realized I kind of cut you off.
I was going to say you should come to Canada.
Oh yeah, definitely. Cobbs Corner. We are definitely going to go to Canada at some point. You know, I'm going to be traveling. You know, I graduate in May. I actually graduate the day after Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out. I had a post on my Instagram story earlier today that's my graduation present. # class of 2023, and yeah, I do plan to visit not only my listeners up in the Great White North, but my listeners down under in Australia. You know, I've collaborated with Lee. You know, he's based out of Australia. My listeners across the pond in the UK. My listeners over in Deutschland. Germany. They're like 7% of my listeners. You know, definitely Gonna go visit you
Hey, when you're in
guys.
Canada, we come to Toronto, hit me up. We do a live show.
And yeah. I mean, that's
Just
that's definitely the plan. That's exactly what I was about to say. Khalil, we should definitely do a
absolutely.
live show if I'm
I'm
ever
down
in Toronto.
100%.
100%. Yep. You got to come to. I don't know if you've been to the United States before.
Yeah, on and off.
Or not.
I've been to Disney.
On and off. Oh, so you've been to Florida.
I've been to Florida. I've been to LA. I've been to New York for Comic-Con. I only go to the US if it involves superheroes, basically.
Okay, yeah, it's a legitimate reason, I guess.
Comic-Con and Disneyland are like basically the only reasons I've ever gone to the US.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but there's just nothing else for me there.
No, I mean that's actually fair. I mean, you didn't want to see like the world's, the Gateway Arch or anything like that, or I mean, well, I'm located just east of New York, so I'm in the state of Connecticut, one of the original states. Yep. So I'm in
if I'm
Connecticut.
ever in the U.S.
Ever in the U.S.
In the area, I'll hit you up.
Come on
It's
down to
unlikely, but if it happens,
of course.
The U.S. is a little bit. It's
what?
Thing going on. It's the kind of something going on. So, at least for the time being, it's very unlikely I'm going to show up in the U.S. for a little bit. Eventually.
That's okay. That's totally fine. I mean,
but you can come down here.
Oh, for sure.
We're great down here. We're great down here.
Because I know for me, I definitely would like to visit all of the shooting locations for my favorite movies. Like I've actually been on a Marvel and DC superhero tour through New York, where I visited the Daily Planet from the Christopher Reeves Superman movies in the 70s, and the area where the telephone booth is not there anymore. I think like the very last one, I may or may not be in a museum. I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, I got to see the building where there's like an actual globe in there. So we got to visit there. We got to visit where the Battle of New York was filmed. It was actually filmed at that site over Labor Day weekend 2011. And apparently Marvel Studios, they had like repaved part of the road, and like they even had to like paint a couple of the lampposts like green or something like that. So that whole sequence is actually filmed in front of Grand Central Station, and where Avengers Tower, well, Stark Tower at that time, was in real life. That's where the MetLife building is. If you're ever in New York City, where the MetLife building is, that's where Stark Tower is in the MCU. So
what was filmed here? Suicide Squad.
I was gonna say, like, I know that like a million movies have been filmed in Toronto. A lot of movies. Yeah, including Suicide Squad. I'm sure. Yeah, Toronto, Atlanta. I've never been to
Vancouver.
LA. Right, Vancouver. Yeah.
Vancouver gets a ton. Quebec gets a ton of stuff too. It's unfair. We should get all the stuff because we're better.
Vancouver. I mean, you guys used to have an NBA team. It used to be the Vancouver Grizzlies. Yeah. Back.
Now they lost it, and now only Toronto.
Only Toronto. And how many rings you guys won? Just one?
Yeah.
Just the one? It's okay. No, it's totally fine.
That is why for football, when I get to choose my team, I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. I got my Mahomes jersey over there next to my Scotty Barnes jersey. So, it's real.
Mahomes. So you guys do get American football up in where you guys?
Yeah. I'm a football fan. I got my Mahomes jersey. I got my Scotty Barnes jersey. And I got my Austin Matthews jersey, all that lined up.
Oh, cool.
You can't see them because they're over there, but they are. Trust me.
Right? Yeah. No, you guys. You ever watch any like the CFL games? I know you guys.
No, that's loser sports.
I don't have time.
Honestly, I don't have time for that.
Calgary Stampeders and.
Man, if I watched any more sports, I don't know if I would actually have time to do anything else in my life. So.
Same. I mean, I've been like silently boycotting the NFL after the whole Colin Kaepernick fiasco. Like I haven't the Super Bowl is like really the only like football game that I'll watch. Like on year to year, like that's the only game I'll watch, and I don't even really have a vested interest in it. Like for me, it's just like the social atmosphere of like the game and just being around like friends and family. I watch it for the movie trailers, the commercials.
We don't
The
get any of
commercials
those,
are not. Oh right, I forgot you guys. You guys don't get any of those.
because
You
the
guys gotta wait.
USMCA.
Yeah, because you guys gotta wait wait and just wait till they're all posted on YouTube the next day.
Yeah. Because
but
they
yeah,
don't.
for me,
because
it's
of ad revenue stuff. It's a whole process.
oh shoot. So
Like,
you guys
and
just get the
technically, we could get
game.
them. We could get them
Oh.
if they wanted to pay for the spots, but no one wants to pay for the spots because we're a tiny market and no one cares about us. So therefore, we don't get them.
But
It's
yeah, I
unfortunate.
mean so you guys just get the game itself and no commercial, or you guys have
No,
your
we
own
get the
commercials?
Canadian commercials, which are
Right, I was
basically
gonna say
two of
you.
the same commercials. Yeah, they suck. The Canadian commercials suck.
Yeah. Then I also feel like every year there's like whoever performs at the halftime show, there's always like two sides of the internet. Either it was the best halftime show ever or it was the worst halftime show ever. It's like me, I don't care
You know the most
enough
underrated halftime
about
show?
what.
It was the Coldplay halftime show.
Oh, you mean in 2016 at Super Bowl 50 where they were the headliners, but then Beyonce and Bruno Mars like pretty much stole the show. Honestly, I didn't even know that Coldplay was still relevant. I'm like, I didn't. They're one of those bands that comes out with like a new hit every 5 years. I'm like, you guys are still
I
alive.
don't know. I was
They've
rewatching
been making
some of the
music.
old.
They've been making music my whole life.
I just was
Yeah,
rewatching some of the old ones, and I was like, I forgot how much of a banger that was. Not because of Coldplay, but because that those two stole the show and made it awesome. Also, I also realized,
I realized how short Bruno Mars is.
yeah,
I never knew he's 5'5".
damn, I didn't even know he's that short. Damn,
Because I realized Beyonce is like wearing heels and like she's taller than like that. Okay. Shoot. But yeah, I personally think that Michael Jackson had the best halftime show way
Prince,
back in like 1996.
Prince.
Prince
Hey,
was okay.
be careful with what you say next.
No, I mean Prince was okay. I think Michael Jackson was probably just one of the best performing artists of all time. And sure, the picture's not the same from 1996 as it is today, but dude could just perform. He could dance.
No, I agree
He
with that
was
completely.
just like, I mean, then his sister performed in 2004, and now YouTube exists. Can't imagine what it was like at Super Bowl. Was it 38 in 2004, the wardrobe malfunction? Yeah, that must have been awful seeing that in real time.
Think
But
about this though. There's no like real music superstars anymore. Like
true, maybe.
like who's the last person to get that much like that, or like him or Prince? Like there's no one like at that level anymore.
Yeah, but you also have to understand, and I guess this is probably the last thing we'll talk about before I gotta log off. I feel like those artists, like Michael Jackson, he put out pretty much his entire discography without the internet. Like he did his, like Thriller is still I think like the highest selling album like of all time right now. I'm pretty sure it's either the highest selling album or it's one of the highest selling albums of all time. And he broke all those records. No internet. Like it was a time when I feel like artists,
Twitter.
yeah, because of no social media, no internet at all, that inconvenience, it forced artists to sort of put their head down and work, and you were forced to collaborate. You had to know people, you had to make connections. You couldn't just do it on your own. So that inconvenience, it forced, like, from that inconvenience, from the analog era, it brought about the Michael Jacksons, the Princes. Even in the hip hop industry, it had the Biggies, the Tupacs, and it was it was just a different time. And I feel like maybe with the rise of the internet and how our generation, Gen Z, we're the first generation. If the millennials were the first generation to grow up with the internet, Gen Z, we're the first generation to grow up with social media. And we're the social media generation, and I feel like our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. Like
Oh
for
yeah.
me, for me, I think I'm fortunate enough to the point where I didn't have TikTok when I was in high school. Like when I was in high school, we had every social media platform that we have now except for TikTok. TikTok didn't blow up until my freshman year of college. But I feel like we're all just like so used to like every minute, every 30 seconds, are moving on to the next thing, and that's like the next and the next. It's like you can't we can't hold conversations. Like we don't have the patience to sit and actually follow an artist. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, because now with the internet, like it's easier to make connections. It's easier to like get your voice out there. Like even with podcasting, it's like,
Justin
this
Bieber's
in this
done on
in
YouTube.
this industry pretty much didn't exist. Like what we're doing right now, this did not like happen
Remember, Justin
30,
Bieber broke
40,
out on
34
YouTube.
years ago. Right. Yeah. I mean, Justin Bieber broke out on YouTube, but even then, I mean, that was kind of a different time because 2008, 2009, like
That was like that. You think with that
so-
compared to like.
I mean, social media back then, and I know because I was alive. Like the social media back then, like wasn't what it is now. I think like social media. Just look at the last 15 years. Like social media has just blown up since 2008.
Well, I could do a whole old man
And
yells at clouds thing about social media.
I
But I
mean,
feel like that's not reproductive. Okay, now
Yeah.
before we end this, I have this comparison for what I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp is, and I wanted to save it till the end because if it goes badly, I can like leave. So okay,
All
when I
right.
was watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, this is the thing that came into my head. Okay,
What's up?
it's Blackish meets like some ripoff like wannabe Star Wars universe.
Blackish.
Blackish.
You guys get that
Think-
out there?
No, just okay. No, okay. So I'm rewatching Blackish right now, which is why it's on the mind. It's
Okay.
on Disney Plus and whatever. So, but it's like I feel like it's like that same like family comedy of
Oh, okay.
Blackish,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like you know what I mean?
Family comedy. Sure.
It's like that. The reason I chose that is because I'm rewatching it right now. So that is like the only thing I can think of when I think of like that family comedy.
Yeah,
right?
I can definitely see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then it's like this ripoff wannabe. Like I don't know if you remember, like kind of this era. And I say this like I was alive or you were alive, but neither of us were alive. But like there's like so like right around after Star Wars released, there were all these people trying to make movies, which like because Star Wars like the big thing about A New Hope was it was so cheap to make, right? Everyone thought they could do it, and there were a whole bunch of these just terrible sci-fi movies right around that time, and they're like these things which if you go and you look at some of these things, you'll be like, how the hell were these things made? And I feel like that's what Ant-Man and the Wasp really was like. Is like, let's try to be Star Wars while having this kind of like Blackish or this family comedy, type vibe. That's my feeling on this movie. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. That's I can see sort of the similarity to Blackish.
And Star Wars.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Darth
Black.
Vader.
Yeah, I guess. But I guess it's
Use
sort
the
of
Force.
like, well, it's an example of like past art kind of like one story ends, another begins, and sort of paying homage or just drawing inspiration from like past movies. I mean, Quentin Tarantino is probably like the highest paid fan fiction writer alive. I mean, pretty much all of his movies he pays homage to the movies that he grew up with. So I feel like maybe in the case of Peyton Reed, he's kind of paying homage to the fact that he grew up during the original trilogy era of Star Wars and after. So
But
yeah,
is he or is it a mistake? Because like I don't know at this point. Because like it feels like Marvel's always doing this, so I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or not. Like I feel like every time I come up, I'm like they have to be doing this intentionally. Like there's no way they're accidentally doing this. But now I'm like, are they accidentally just perfect? Like like is that basically my way of excusing them? Is like, look, they're paying homage to this thing, so therefore, like She-Hulk, right? My thing was
Right.
always, and I think this has been confirmed by Kevin Feige multiple times, but it's like they were paying homage. So like that Ally McBeal era of like legal comedy, right? So like you could kind of excuse some like the CGI weaknesses, let's say, because it feels more accurate to those cheap cable like shows, right? But it's like, am I excusing them for bad quality by saying they're paying homage when in reality maybe they aren't? In that same way, you know what I mean? Like, am I excusing it too much? I don't know.
No, I think you definitely kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think because we've seen them sort of pay homage, like in various movies throughout, throughout the MCU, and I've even talked about this like a million times on this platform, how superhero movies are not a genre unto themselves, and like the three specific examples I've used are Captain America: The First Avenger. It is a 1940s like World War II period piece, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier is like a 21st century political thriller. There's even a shot of that, like the elevator scene, like there's a shot of the Triskelion. You see the Watergate Hotel off in the background. And the movie even stars Robert Redford, who was in the movie All the President's Men, which is about the Watergate scandal. So it's like, yeah, like this is a 21st century political thriller. And Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera. Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man, is a non-traditional heist movie. And so, yeah, but all these movies are superhero films. So I definitely think that we live in the day and age where the kids who grew up
and there's
on
Oscar bait,
like
that kind of drama.
Well, I mean, okay. It's like we live in the era where like all the kids who watched Star Wars as a kid, or maybe saw whatever the Marvel movies or whatever, like who probably saw like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Star Wars or Blade Runner, all the kids who grew up in that time period. We live in a day and age where all of these kids have probably gone to film school and gone on to become the Peyton Reeds and the Kevin Feiges and the Jon Favreaus of today. So they're definitely going to draw inspiration from the movies that they grew up with. I think. And 40 years from now, we're going to be saying the exact same thing about movies of today.
So what you're telling me is my fear that one day we're going to be looking back on like Jared Leto's Joker and as nostalgia is coming true. Got it. I'm frightened now. Thank you for that.
Okay, well, I didn't say that.
I know,
Specifically,
I'm frightened you too now.
This has been fun. Khalil,
yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You are welcome anytime on Cobbs Corner. I hope that you yourself have enjoyed your stay here at Cobbs Corner.
So much fun.
Yep, I've had a lot of fun over the last 2 hours. Guys, definitely check out Khalil. Check out his stuff. He's got a lot of great stuff going on Comic Boys. And well, I guess I'll give you the last minute or two. Like, what do you tell the people what you got going on? What do you got coming up?
So we got a bunch of stuff in the woodwork. We got a bunch of stuff out. But fun fact, if you just type in Comic Boys No Space into like a search tab, you'll get all of our stuff. We become powerful like that. So that makes me happy. So yeah, if you want to find any of our stuff instead of telling you what to do, just type in Comic Boys No Spaces, and you'll all the top things are like YouTube and podcasts and Instagram and all that stuff. So you don't have to work that hard. We really, really monopolize this right now. So that's great. And obviously you got to follow, this awesome podcast that you're listening to right now, because, you're someone who's probably better at this than me, over here. So, you gotta stay with the quality and not just the chaos. So.
Well, thank you for that, Khalil. Well, this has been Cobb's Corner. This has been the very first official live stream. This is the first time I've ever had a guest on Cobb's Corner. I have really, really enjoyed this episode. I am butchering this outro.
Hey, I still got an outro video, so
Yeah, I mean, I will for sure leave links down below to all of Khalil's, his social media, where to find him on YouTube, on Spotify,
Everything.
wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to him, follow him. Subscribe to Cobbs Corner. Follow Cobbs Corner on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is all lowercase, no spaces, Cobbs Corner Podcast. On Instagram, we are all lowercase Cobbs _corner _podcast. Follow me on Instagram at future_mechanical_engineer. All of those links will be down below. If you like today's broadcast, be sure to share it, leave a like, and comment down below any of your theories and what you guys have to say about anything that we talked about today. So
if people type in Cobbs Corner on Google, the third thing that comes up is your podcast.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
it's after Cobbs Corner Cafe.
That is a cafe in Detroit. That is actually a cafe in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing and the second thing. But the third thing is your podcast. So if you can just beat the cafe, then you've got monopoly over that. So if you just tell people to type in your name, now you can tell people, Google us. And they'll
Google us. Go down through. Google Cobbs Corner. Like this episode. Just share it. Subscribe. Turn on those post notifications because I drop a new episode every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you don't want to miss out. I'll talk to all of you in the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed your stay here at Cobbs Corner. Peace.